Thank you. I woke up this morning at 4 o'clock in Boston. It's good to be here. It's good to be anywhere. My campaign and I went to the Red Sox game yesterday. I have to confess, it's hard. And then we had a function afterwards right outside the stadium, and it went way too long. But I'm really honored to be here. And I want to thank you, each of you, for your efforts and your attention, not to me, but to something a lot bigger than me. And that is the future of our country. How do we regain our democracy? How do we make our republic do what Benjamin Franklin asked us to do? Keep strong. Because there are no guarantees about a nation. There are no guarantees about liberty. There are no guarantees about speech without the shadows of the special interest. And that's what this battle is about. I see the country that I love in serious trouble. There were 1 billion cell phones made in the world last year. None were made in America. We've lost approximately 10 million manufacturing jobs, not just to Mexico, but primarily to China. And it was done deliberately. It was done by special interests who wrote the tax code where we pay the cost of building plants overseas. We pay it, the taxpayers. What kind of nation is that? I'm a banker by profession. I'm a small bank, not $1 billion in size. It's more like 750 million. Pretty good size for a little state like Louisiana. And as was said in the introduction, we didn't foreclose on any mortgages. We didn't take bailout money. We're profitable. We're prosperous. We work hard. But I look at bank reform. What a joke. I mean, I picked up the New York Times this morning at 5 o'clock at the airport, at Logan Airport. And on the back pages on B3, I ask you to read it if you get a chance to. There's a little article. It says, blank finds pay cut 35% as Goldman Sachs struggles. My heart bleeds. and Lloyd has gotten his pay cut now to $12 million. It's $1 million a month. But read the fine print. By the way, Goldman Sachs was one of those banks that lied to Congress. We don't need any federal help. They took hundreds of billions of taxpayers' credit, paid not one penny for it. Oh, we don't need their help. We're just going along to not, so the other banks don't look bad. That's what he said, a lie. Their stock is down 46% this year. So, Lloyd took a pay cut. But then you read the fine print. Let me read it to you. His 2011 pay, including stock deferred, is $16.2 million, not 12, up from $14.1 million the previous year. Now, this is what happens in our society, where the average woman and the average man is working to make ends meet, is trying to hold on to a job or find a job. We have 13 million people unemployed. We have another 10 million people who've either quit looking or working part-time. We've got 25 million Americans who could have a decent job and need one that don't have a shot. And these guys have feathered their nest at the taxpayer's expense. And then the final little fine print in the article, I couldn't believe it when I read this, about 5:15. It says, in their shareholders meeting this year, certain shareholders have proposed that Goldman Sachs policy and procedures governing the lobbying of legislators and regulators be fully and accurately disclosed. Guess who's opposing that? Lloyd Blankfein and the board of directors of golden friggin' Sachs. Now look, I'm not picking on Wall Street banks. That's a business I know. And I know it's hollow as an empty egg. I know that America doesn't come first. I understand they're in the private business. I understand that, so is my bank. But we have a system now where you did bank reform 2 years ago. The president signed the bill, President Obama. He runs to Wall Street the next week, has a fundraiser at $35,000 a ticket, and it's hosted by Goldman Sachs. You get it? Goldman Sachs is bigger now than when the crash came. You remember too big to fail? Well, the big banks are bigger now under the regulation of this federal government. We are a joke. We are a nation still vulnerable to a financial collapse. This is the weakest recovery in American history. Weaker than the Great Depression recovery. We've averaged for the last 3 years 1.7% annual growth. The annual growth in this country for the last 70 years has been 3.4%. We have millions of young people out of work. And be born black and look at the unemployment rate in America. It is a disgrace. And what has this administration done? Just like the Bush administration, made a deal with the Wall Street banks. Oh, you come first. No, they don't. We won't do bank reform. We won't do health care reform. I'm a diabetic. I've been a diabetic for more than 40 years. We need health care reform. Many people in America cannot afford to be sick. But did we do anything to lower the cost of health care? Oh, no. This current administration made a deal with the insurance companies. They have a monopoly in each of 50 states. You can't buy medical insurance across the state line. Did you know that? It's prohibited by law. They made a deal with the pharmaceutical companies. It was about money. The president called the head of the Pharmaceutical Association. He told me this. And he said, look, Billy, if you don't oppose health care reform, we will protect you in the bill. Read the bill. It protects pharmaceutical companies from price discounting. It is against the law for them to price discount. It protects them from international trade from Canada. In the bill, all the cost of health care, insurance, what a mess. What a regulatory mess. It's not competition. It's not transparent. All protected in Obamacare, in affordable care. And they shouldn't be. Why would the president's team do that? They're not evil people. Money. Money. Either money they take or money they're afraid of. Here's my proposition. Now, I admit that I'm a Harvard graduate, and I never said that in Louisiana. I went undergraduate there and studied economics. John Kenneth got a grade. I then went to the Harvard Business School and studied finance. And I'm proud of growing jobs. That's what I do. When I became governor of Louisiana, the unemployment rate was 12%. When I lost my re-election, it was 6%. We put people back to work. We did the hard things. We balanced the budget. We reformed taxes. We tested school teachers. We passed the toughest campaign reform law in America, and it's still there today. And we've elected Democrats and Republicans as governors. We put people in jail. I used to be 6'2" and smile a lot. This is tough. But all the things that you and I want to do, left and right, liberal, progressive, conservative, all the things we know need to be done. Tax reform, budget reform, healthcare reform, banking reform, immigration reform, trade reform with China. I can go on and on. None of these will get done by Mitt Romney or Barack Obama because of the special interests on this town. Let me say it another way. Now, I'm the only guy running for president who's been elected a congressman and a governor. I'm the only one. This town is not just broken, it's bought. The solution will include full disclosure. The solution will include a tight reporting period for that disclosure. I suggest 48 hours. Now they can hide donations for a year. The solutions will include shutting the lobbyists and their checks off from political fundraising. The solutions will include limiting PACs to no more than individuals, whatever the individual rate is. In my campaign's $100, you might want it at $2,000. Full disclosure, 48-hour reporting. PACs can't give more than whatever the individual limit is. You know what the law is now? Twice as much. 5,000 for PACs. I will eliminate super PACs. They're clearly illegal by the Supreme Court. And I will include criminal penalties for politicians who violate. Let me close by saying I welcome your questions and I love being with this panel. I know these guys and they are the best in spite of the New Hampshire presence here. I'm excited about America. I'm excited about the promise of this country. I haven't given up on it, but we need to take it back from the special interest. Thank you very much.